So I imagine the comment section in this video is going to be explosive, so hang on to your hats. Earlier this year, I went to a homesteading conference in St. Louis, Missouri, and it was a fantastic time. I had a great amount of learning that took place there. I learned a lot. I saw a lot of things. I learned about a lot of things I didn't know about before. One of the things that stood out to me the most was the lack of dads that participated in that event. I think a lot of times people will take on homeschooling and the dad's attitude is, okay, you want to do that? You do it. And the reason mom wants to do it is because she has this instinctive understanding of what is danger because she is the protector of her children. And she understands that the school system today is just corrupt. It is toxic. And you don't want to send your children into an environment like that because your job as protector or nurturer of your children, you try to shield your kids from things that are toxic and that could hurt them. And so it's the mom usually who's leading the charge on the homeschooling, and the dad's like, okay, you do whatever. If that's what you want to do, you do it. The dads need to be more involved. And one of the things that stood out to me as I went to that homeschooling conference was there were very few dads there. And I understand it took place partly during the week, and dad's at work. I get it. He's got to go to work. But in the weekend, I thought I'd see more dads, and there just weren't any. There was a few. I mean, there was a number of dads. There was a couple of classes during the week that focused on dads and, different topics. And you could fill a small lecture room of, 15, 20 people. That was it. There was more dads there than that, but, there was thousands of people there. Thousands. Anyway, all that to say, this is going to tie into my story. And again, this is going to be an explosive comment section. I want you to participate. Let's go over to The Hill. Over at thehill.com, it says, reading for fun plunges to crisis level for U.S. students. Amid a cascade of devastating reports showing classroom test scores plummeting nationwide, U.S. students have also hit a record low in their leisure time. Casual reading has collapsed. Only 14% of students say that they read for fun every day, according to the National Assessment of Educational Progress report released recently, down 3 percentage points from 2020 to 13 since 2012. The report indicates 31% of students never or hardly ever read for fun. Experts say the relationship between reading and academic success is crucial at a time when students are facing roadblocks to reading for fun, ranging from social media to not being introduced to books that interest them. I would say it's mostly video games. We definitely have a crisis on our hands, and what's wonderful is I really definitely think that we have an antidote for what ails us here, said Sasha Quinton, Executive Vice President and President for Scholastic School Reading Events. If we focus on that book joy and just connecting kids to funny stories and explosive stories and things that spark their interest, then they are learning to read, and then they are on the path to being lifelong readers. It says the crisis Quinton speaks of has built up through multiple factors, one of the biggest arguably being technology and social media, which is reaching younger and younger children. Absolutely. Steve Jobs famously said, I would never give my kid an iPad. Never. He says it ruins their creativity. If you remember, long ago, he said that before he died. Look it up if you want to verify it. He said that. He says, I would never give my kid one of those devices. Common Sense Media reported in 2015 that most children had a phone by the age of 14. Absolutely horrible. In 2022, Stanford Medicine found that an average age had reached 11, a critical point where the love of reading is either nourished or it dissipates. It's really important to know what the average age now is that kids have their own smartphone, and we know that we lose our kids around 9 where they stop reading for pleasure. I'm not going to make this about the dangers of smartphone usage. If you're a parent and your kid is age 9 and has a smartphone, you're in big trouble. The future of your child is in big trouble. And if you don't believe me, you need to do your own research on that. I'm not going to make this video about that. Absolutely insane. Here's the deal. Dads, you need to make your reading to your children a priority, especially in the younger ages. Okay, years ago, Jamie told me, listen, it's good that moms who are basically spearheading the homeschooling effort, on their homesteads or just in regular, suburbia, wherever they live, doesn't matter. They're spearheading this effort and dads are going along. But if you want your children to be lifelong learners, if you want them to have a love of reading, if you don't want them to be addicted to the dopamine hits of a smartphone and video games all the time, then dads, you need to take up the mantle and you need to read to your kids. There is so much more impact when a dad reads to his children. So much more impact. It's night and day. Moms, it's great that you want to do this. You're doing this because you feel that instinct that you have inside of you that's saying, hey, get my kids out of this toxic environment and create an environment of love and stability and emotional nurturing support. But dads, you have to be involved. You have to be involved if you want your children to succeed, because you're going to want to pass something down to your children at some point one day. And you can't pass something down to a kid who's just going to, sit on the couch and play video games and watch porn and all these other insanity things that the kids are being addicted to today, because they're addicted to dopamine rushes. You've got to get control of your family. It's not enough to say, Mom, you homeschool. You have to be. My kids are readers, and it's because Dad took the time to read to them. And Caleb, my youngest, was having such a time of learning to read, and finally there was like a switch that went on one day. Pew, pew, and boom, he's like going through books like crazy. We're going through the Hardy Boys series, and the reason I think this is going to be an explosive comment section is, number one, the topic can be touchy anyway, because a lot of dads don't want to have to take up this mantle. You've got enough things to do. I get it. You're trying to provide for the family. You're trying to, build a homestead. You're trying to do this, that. Now you've got to be reading to my kids once a day or a few times a week. Yes, I'm going to throw that on that burner. But I get it. You're busy. But if you want your kids to take up this mantle and then to succeed in life, it's so important that you become involved. The reason I think this might become an explosive comment section is, yes, that's a touchy topic right there. However, I want to get into some of these things about what it is that you're reading to your children. Okay, I have standards. I'm going through different series. My youngest is just devouring the Hardy Boys series, and there's a ton of those things. I think they started writing those back in the 1930s, and it has a number of series on them. You got up to about book number 30. And then the price of those things online skyrockets. And so we're having a hard time finding them, but we're ordering them through the library system. But if you have a great series, because I think parents struggle with this. Okay, for me, obviously, I want to, I don't want to give my kids garbage to read, because that's not helpful. But I mean, I have certain standards. I don't. I'm careful about, language in the books. Obviously, I'm careful about, what sort of inappropriateness is going to be in those books. I don't allow magic, no magic, wizardry, and, sorcery, stuff like books like that. So yes, Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe stuff is out. And so I'm kind of particular about what is consumed, and I teach them why I'm concerned about those topics. Okay, so that's up to you as a parent. You have to do that. You have your own set of standards, but at least you have standards. Okay, so whatever you decide, at least you've decided and you're involved. It's starting to rain outside a little bit. I got my windows open in the office right now because it's a hot day. It's going to be a hot day. All right, so there's that. But give me your standards. What are your standards? And there's no judgment here. I'm not judging you. And don't judge anyone else in the comments either. But if you have a series that you would recommend, please leave it in the comments below. And what kind of standards do you have for your kids? I had someone the other day recommend to me the Ranger's Apprentice series. Has anyone read that? I haven't really done any research on it yet. But those are my standards. I don't want, no inappropriate sexual behavior. Language is important, and what kind of language, and then also sorcery and all that jazz. I try not to allow that. But if you have a great series that you want to recommend, because my kids are going through series like crazy. I'm having a hard time. I'm going through. There's a number of Colleen Kessler, I think, is a good one, and I can't remember all the names of all these people who have reviews on their websites. I think her website is RaisingLifelongLearners.com. But if you have a source, please leave that in the comments below. You're going to help out other parents. You're going to help out me. You're going to help out other parents too who are interested and looking for this information. We're going to talk some more about homeschool coming up. In the days ahead, we're making some changes here on our homeschool curriculum, and I'll go through that with you at a later date. Also, perfectpickler.com. We are now partnering with Perfect Pickler, and we're going to be getting into more fermenting stuff, and I'll give you more details on that. I left a video over at the Patreon page, patreon.com/AnAmericanHomestead, where you can find out more of those details. But if you're interested in fermenting foods, Perfect Pickler, we are partnering with them. We got a lot of great changes coming up here on the homestead. It's going to be exciting. All right, guys. Hey, again, leave a comment below. I'm interested to hear what you think. Merchandise, teespring.com, violates community standards. If you're one of those people who've been in Facebook jail, like I have, then this is the shirt for you. I'm not even on Facebook anymore. I can't stand that trash can of a website. I was just listening to people online today, within my community who are like, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why are you still there? But I've been in Facebook jail one too many times. I think I'm in Twitter jail right now. I can't even post on Twitter. For some reason, I can't post on Twitter like the last week. I don't know what's going on. I think I'm in trouble. Somehow I'm in trouble. But and at one point, hey, listen, check us out over at AnAmericanHomestead.com. If for some reason we get kicked off this platform, you can find us over at the website. There is an email subscribe over there. I'm not sure it's working right now. I got to get that. I'm working on that this week. But our website, AnAmericanHomestead.com, if I one day just disappear, hopefully you can still find me over there, unless they really do a good job of vacuuming me out of existence. See you next time in the homestead. Bah! This is Grandma. Grandma survived the Great Depression. She survived the Great Depression because her supply chain was local and she knew how to do stuff. Grandma was smart. Grandma told us to make do with what you got. She also said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Homesteading is all about self-reliance and declaring ourselves to be independent from the system. We grow our own food, we raise our own animals, and doing these things helps safeguard our families from the unpredictable world that surrounds us. But what about banking? I love being my own power company, but what about being my own bank? Right now, our country is over $30 trillion in debt and rising. The Fed keeps printing money, and the Congress won't stop spending money. Staying attached to the modern banking system and their investment vehicles is like putting all of your eggs in one very, very fragile basket. On one side, you have the threat of inflation and your savings value floating away, and the other side is a possible deflationary stock market collapse, just like what happened in the 1930s. Genesis Gold Group is like a basket holding eggs, and these eggs are impossible to break. History shows us that all paper investments have and will return to their intrinsic value eventually, zero. But gold, silver, and other precious metals have never, ever been worthless. In every collapse throughout history, people have turned back to precious metals to find monetary value. If you have a 401k, an IRA, or a savings account where you're literally watching the purchasing power inflate away, give Genesis Gold Group a call right now, today, this instant. They can develop a strategy for you in the days ahead. I can tell you how I raise sheep, I can tell you how I raise chickens, or the best way to grow tomatoes, or how to hook up a solar panel. But Genesis Gold Group is your best shot at safeguarding your hard-earned savings and investments during this increasingly turbulent time in history. The link and phone number is in the description below, or visit their website at genesisgoldgroup.com. And be sure to say you heard about them from An American Homestead. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of An American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.